Well, well, well. Whew. It is April the 1st. Some people like to call it traditionally April Fool's Day. I just call it another day in the week. I am Brother Francis, and I am the host for Wisdom Keys with Brother Francis, with you all every Thursday at about 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm happy to be here today and looking forward to this 30-minute episode. This particular live episode is entitled, We Are All Abstractions of the One Divine Source. And before I get started, I want to make a few announcements for anybody who will be around tomorrow at 12 noon. You get a chance to listen to Swanda, which is Michelle Vidal, the owner of Resonant Essentials. On Saturday, all should be well. The weather should be very exciting out here. I hear it's supposed to hit pretty close to a high 70s, low 80s. So tomorrow morning, I will be teaching class on meditation, how to connect with the silence within so that you could communicate with your higher self. And that's tomorrow at the center at 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. However, every Monday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, you get to hear the wonderful wisdom, the whispering truth wisdom of coming straight out of the UK with Audrey Wilson. That's every Monday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Excuse me. Every Tuesday at 12 p.m. is Donna of Dominion Tarot, who has a very lovely topic. And of course, those of you that have been able to tune in on a regular basis, she offers a one card reading after giving you the energy card of the day as she starts her program off. Then I come back on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with Wisdom Keys. Bring you a different message, a different topic every week, and every Friday is, of course, Swanda, which is Michelle Vidal. So we look forward to all of you joining us and being here with us and receiving many of these teachings, and we welcome your comments. Hey, how you doing there? Yes. What did I say? Tomorrow? I've been working, working, working. Yes, tomorrow is Friday. The class is Saturday. Thank you, Rosemary. So yeah, my meditation class is Saturday mornings at 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And it's a glorious way to learn how to understand what the science is of meditation, but I've been a meditation practitioner and teacher of it for over 40 years. So I have different methods to help you open yourself up so that you can experience meditation in absolute silence. I don't use any music in these early stages. When I taught a lot on in New York, I used a lot of music because we had a lot of traffic outside the building. So it was very difficult to be able to have people focus inside because they were hearing so much noise from traffic that was outside. But you can use music, can use it to allow yourself to become more centered as time goes on. So I have a variety of methods to bring you to that doorstep of yourself. Well, today's topic is we're all abstractions of the one divine source. And the reason I chose this is because we are often looking at abstract things when we are studying in the field of metaphysics and we start to look at ourselves in relationship to the universe. One of those abstract ideas is ourself. Yes, good to see you too, Rosemary. So it is important for us to understand that we are an abstract. And when I was an artist in college, I really didn't understand the term abstract. I would see people doing something which they said was abstract art, but none of the professors really explained what that was. And I really didn't get it until one day I was working with an old fashioned key with a lock, and you had a little opening in the bottom of the latch itself where the doorknob was. And so I started to peer in because I was trying to, apparently, my roommate had left his key in the door from inside the room. We were sharing a room in a dormitory. So I had to, in order to get my key in, I had to poke his key out. And eventually I was able to get it out. And it was an old fashioned key. And when I was here down on one knee looking through the keyhole, it hit me. Only the part that I could see, I could only see a small margin, a small hole, so to speak. It was a hole into the world of our dormitory room. And that's when it hit me what an abstract was. An abstract, and as I had to put it in my notes here, is sort of like another thing that is an abstract is a seed of a plant. Any plant that has a seed, that produces a seed, those seeds are in essence uh, a microcosmic view of something that is bigger, of its parent. So an abstract is perfect within itself because it is a small unit that is connected to a much larger unit that is more infinite by design. And that's what this topic is about. So, one of the things I list here is one of many abstract concepts is the word being or living being that has an existence all to itself. But what happens is the being has the energy of its parent, that which it came out of. As a student longtime student of Tai Chi and Qigong, we were taught that your kidneys house your natal chi, the chi that you receive from birth, has settled into your kidneys. And that's why the kidneys are so important, along with your liver, your spleen, your gallbladder, you name it. The kidneys represent balance in the body. So if the kidneys aren't balanced properly, the chi escapes and it then turns into what's called sha, which is SHA. Sha is like negative chi or chi without value. Okay. Chi that's polluted. All right. It's not balanced anymore. It doesn't have life force energy. So when we start to think of this, um, that we are an abstract, we are an abstraction. We belong to something else far greater than ourselves. And so we know that we have a connection to the universe. If you were a person who was studying Center of Spiritual Living, which is the Science of Mind teachings of Ernest Holmes, or the Unity teachings, both have similar teachings. And the teachings is that there is a great design in the universe, and that this greater design, this more living organism, creates everything else, gives everything else its purpose. And you, as a being within this structure, you are a reflection of that. You are, so we might say, excuse me, God, sources, God, Goddess energy, Divine Mother, Divine Father energy is a creative force. They're one and the same. And since they are one and the same, they operate on the same principles. What's a principle? A principle is a fundamental truth of all truths. So the all truth The all infinite truth is we are one. We are apart and not separated from the divine mind, the divine heart, the divine hand, the divine body. Just like the cells in your body aren't truly separated. Your cells function as a community of cells within your body. And you got trillions of cells that are operating every organ in your body. You got trillions of cells that are also a part of the bone and the bone marrow, and part of the nerves and the nerve system itself, part of the bloodstream. The cells in the bloodstream also are coated with that abstraction of divinity that you are a part of, that we all are a part of. So it's important to understand that. So, as an abstract, we are existing in thought, but not with a physical existence, though. It is more of a spiritual or divine existence because we're carrying energy that's belonging to that. But the interesting factor, as a being housing a physical form, the physical form itself has what? Trace minerals in our body. So the same things we find in the earth. We can find copper in the earth. We can find iron in the earth. We can find selenium as selenite in the earth. But in your body, it's selenium. We have iron in the body. We have copper in the body. We have magnesium in the body. All right. So we have all these trace minerals that help make up the physical structure that we are dwelling in as this abstract being. Excuse me. So the more we get into understanding it, the more we realize that we're just housed by it, but we're not enslaved by it, if I want to use that term. In other words, we're connected to it. It's a vehicle of transport to get us through everything that's going on around us. Yet we are not limited, or we should not see ourselves as limited. So this concept is presented in a fuller way all the time. To be an abstract, so if you think of it, think of AB, which is Latin for from the Father, or we can say here universally from the parent, the divine source, okay? And then tract, TRACT. So a tract is something that's a portion of something that's bigger. Just like if you were to, I think, went in and looked up the deeds to particular properties in your town or in your city, and you go downtown, when you go in there and you look it up, right? They would show you, or should be able to show you once you give them the location that you want to look at. So you want to look at the deeds of the property, then they'll show you the tract. It's a tract. That's what they call it. So it has its measurings. It could be 30 yards wide and 60 yards deep. That's where your house might be sitting at, or it might be a vacant land next to your house that could be 100 feet by 38 feet. Everything has been marked off. So that in itself is like an abstraction, meaning you could take it out and you could you could see it in its entirety. And that's what we are. We are this part of this greater picture, right? We are part of this greater picture in the universe, in our minds as the universe. And we are unto ourselves a full abstraction. So we think of those Kemetic Egyptian hermetic laws, as above, so below, as within, so without. So we have all of that, and we're carrying the essence of mind. They say the universe is nothing more but a mind. It's all energy. We contain energy within. If we didn't have enough energy within ourselves, we would not be conscious and aware that we have eyes to see, ears to hear, a tongue, and tactile fingers to pick up objects. We would not be conscious of a body. we would just think we don't know what it's doing. It seems to operate on its own, but we know it has a will of its own, right? It could move. It could everything inside can communicate with everything else. And that's the greater importance with meditation is eventually going within so you could become a witness or an observer of the communication, constant communication that your body is going through 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that is the thing you want to be aware of as this quote unquote abstract being. You're not just floating around, not connected to anything. You are truly connected to something far greater, to say more infinite. You just happen to see this little part like right here. So we've been a part of this vast universe for ages. If I could explain it, and it just came to mind, if I could explain yourself as a perfect unit within yourself, and you are uh, on your body or part of your body are these various things, fingers. Each finger is an abstract of a hand. Each finger and the palm down to the wrist bone with your fingernails is an abstract of a bigger picture. The fingers are extensions. The palm is an extension within the hand going to the wrist. The forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulders, all of these are abstractions, can be taken out or set aside or place your focus someplace else. That the bigger picture, the physical form, is what the abstract is connected to. So as we begin to see this, we begin to see that we are this infinite force, this energy that never stops. We are a being. You think of the word being, you're using it as a noun, but it's an energy word, being meaning in motion. We are presently in motion, engaged in some kind of action, physically, some kind of feeling, emotionally, some kind of thought process. That's mental. We're being within a space-time continuum. Huh? Then, on another level, we are connected in the higher realms of consciousness. So we're getting this energy that's happening. The chi in the universe is an abstraction. It is the blood of the universe. The chi is the energetic blood of the universe. So all of these things play an important part in our lives. And without them, or without the understanding of it, or without the conscious awareness of it, we would be technically lost. So what we're striving to do is to understand that no matter what scale that we find ourselves in, or no matter what scale that we find ourselves expressing, we must understand that we are a part of something greater, more infinite. We're just not operating as it appears by ourselves. My late grandmother, even though I was 4 years old, and all I can remember her saying, by your lonesome. You're not here by your lonesome, by yourself. You're here with other beings, and you appear to be disconnected from those beings, but you're not. You never were. You just can assume. So we keep that in mind. You're not truly separated. The illusion is because you see space between each other. Because you see that space and you experience that space, that void between each other, you can assume that you are separate from each other, but you do share land with each other. You share water with each other. You share air with each other. You share scenery around you with each other. We're all participating on the same land, even though it is vast. And we're taking in air, which is vast and infinite. And that air is oxygenated. And we're drinking water, and that has hydrogen and oxygen in it that creates it. So we are all abstractions in motion, though. Even when we appear to be seated still or asleep or consuming sustenance for our bodies called food, we are still doing something that's supportive to something else. So we're allowing ourselves to have a living foundation. We're allowing ourselves to have a living foundation. And because of this living foundation, we grow up through that or upon it, and we become a living abstraction, meaning we are consciously in motion. Sometimes we might appear to be unconsciously in motion. What would be a way of being unconscious? That'd be like driving your vehicle if you don't have the upgraded uh, cars where you could talk through your car, but you are, you're driving your car and you got your cell phone plugged in. So now, you got your headset on. So now your attention is split because you should be focused on what? Driving the vehicle, getting it safely, and yourself as a passenger safely from point A to point B. But now you're going to be distracted. This made uncomfortable, made that track uncomfortable because your attention is now split. Because now you got to listen to the conversation and you got to be aware where you're at because you're driving a vehicle. But you are this living abstraction. You are a part of something else. Children are a part of their parents. That makes them a living abstraction. Parents are a part of their parents, which is the children's grandparents. And that's another a field of abstraction. So we want to keep in mind that we are experiencing all types of essences and qualities that make us up as being an abstraction, a living entity. So here we are. We have to come to the awareness, and we have to, after much thought, embrace the reality that we're not functioning alone, that we have traits of our mother, traits of our father. Some of us look from here up like the mother and here down like the father. Or when you're younger, you look more like the mother, and as you got more settled, you began to look more like your father. But yet, you were carrying maybe 80 to 90% of each around in your body. Maybe that percentage is a little off because if your body, the spirit inside, the soul energy inside is say 100, then let's say 25, 30, 50% of that is you, and 25% is mom, and 25% is dad because they're inside of you too. And without them, there is no you for the moment. Unless you can get to the point where you are 100% mindful that you are first and foremost a spiritual being first, who happens to have some trace elements connected to mom and dad. Because the more we grow and the more we expand, less and less of their presence is with us, and is more of us emerging, coming forward with who we are, what we're trying to express. So we're going to find ourselves feeling better, being better, acting differently, having certain attributes of your mother and your father, or those of you who are married, you will acquire certain attributes and vibrational things that are connected to your life mate, to your partner. If you're by yourself and you have a certain collection of friends that you're very close to, you will do what? You will have a little bit of their energy connected to yours because, after all, you're trying to acclimate, you're trying to get along. So, you're going to do some things that's going to make it possible for your friends, your loved ones, your neighbors, your coworkers, bosses, or your employees to have a part of you so they can communicate with you clearly and so that you can clearly articulate. So we must act with full consciousness that we are divine beings and not a human being. That's the illusion. The human being part is that we are seeing ourselves in this physical form. We are seeing ourselves in this physical form. So we get too, I guess, too connected to it, too rooted in it, then you feel that that's all there is your physical form. You won't think highly of yourself. You won't raise your consciousness on any level. You won't work on your shadow side or your light side. You'll just be running amok. You'll just be running amok. So, what you want to do at some point is you want to get into understanding who you are. You're a living being, a spiritual being, and you're a part of a divine source. And the divine source can replicate infinite parts of itself. That's what it does. It replicates infinite parts of itself through the power of the mind and through the power of emotions. But what that entails is really the elements of fire, air, water, and earth. And those stratas are connected to this greater divine being that we are a part of. We are nothing more, in one sense, than an infinite thought of creation or the creator. All of us are infinite thoughts of the creator. That's why we are consciously and unconsciously and subconsciously growing in different ways, being and doing in different ways. The late Reverend Ike used to always say, you got to learn how to be, do, and have. But before you could be, do, and have, you've got to make a decision about being who you are striving to be. Then you can make a decision about what? Doing what you want to do. And then you make another decision about having what you would like to have. And he would always say, and he wasn't the only one, he got his teachings from the late Neville Goddard and many other people, and they would say, you are an I am presence. That whatever you place after the words I am in capital letters, I am, you shall become. So if we are these living abstractions, we can now claim that we are and become more detailed in it. So rather than just say, I am a living abstraction, I will say, I am a living abstraction of divine truth. I am a living abstraction of not just divinity, but compassion, grace, understanding, comprehension, consciousness, feelings, different levels of subtle sensitivities. I'm all that and more. I'm just not this one little thing walking around on the earth plane. I have a consciousness, which means I can now think and I can also what? Remember and also what? Be aware of what I'm remembering, be aware of what I'm thinking, and then house that within myself so that I will always remember the right truths about myself and the truths about others. That's why people have said it's important for us to understand what kind of story you are telling. Are you telling a story that is infused with positive energy in it? We all going to have a story that has experiences that were traumatic to our well-being, emotionally and mentally and physically and spiritually. But we have to go through a state of being in a state of forgiveness. And when we're in that state of forgiveness, we are allowing ourselves to be better, to feel better, to do better. How many of you remember those phrases, or those words? When you know better, then you do better. When you know the value of something and the value of who you are, your self-worth, then of course you do better. What you select better friends. You put yourself in better situations where you can grow and not be hindered, right? You put yourself in a position where you can receive and not just be the one who's giving all the time, but be the actual recipient of very high positive energy. So when we begin to think in this manner, when we see that we are an abstract being, meaning that we come out of something that is far greater, more in our level of consciousness and understanding that is infinite. Because if something is infinite that and you're part of that infinite thing, that infinite living being, then yeah, you're not going to be able to comprehend it. You're not supposed to. You're just going to understand as much as you need to understand in order for you to what? Get past survival mode and step into what? Thriving mode. That's when we step into thriving mode, that means what? We get excited about life. We get excited about what we're doing. We're getting excited about who's in our life. We get excited about who we've attracted into our lives. We get excited about the other events that are going on in our lives. We get excited about our wellness. We get excited about our states of abundance, prosperity, joy, happiness, the being, the doing, and having. And knowing what? That it's limitless, it's boundless. There are no limitations. So prosperity and abundance is present for all of us. There are no limits on it. Like we'll stop saying the sky's the limit because we keep saying the sky's the limit, then we put a cap on it. And one day when we reach the limit, you think there's nothing else for you to do. So that is it for Wisdom Keys with myself, Brother Francis. I'll be back next week with another topic. I'm not sure what it is yet. Probably this weekend I'll come up with that title. Often this title came to me because I just laid it out to the universe around me, to my ancestors and to my spirit guides and ancestral guides. What should I talk about? And I started seeing the word abstract. So we have everything that we are seeking and knowing and being already embedded in our consciousness. So, as I always say every week, my grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you all next Thursday at 1 p.m. Be sure to come by tomorrow here at Resonant Essentials, the group, at 12 p.m. and listen to the wisdom of Swanda, which is Michelle Vidal. Or come through here on Mondays at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and listen to the whisperings of truth that are coming from the UK from Audrey Wilson, and Tuesdays, our very good sister Donna of Dominion Tarot. I like how she addresses everybody. Welcome, Tarot Nuts. Well, everybody, have a good day, rest of your day, so that you have a better tomorrow, and have a great tomorrow so that you have a better weekend. And I'll see you next Thursday right here at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You have a pleasant day. Thank you for stopping in and watching. With those of you coming through the eye that are watching, thank you so much for your time. See you again.